I adored every second of it. As my eyes fluttered open, I found myself seated beside a strange console, the soft hum of lights filling the cabin. The air smelled faintly metallic, mixed with a hint of burnt circuits. My heart thudded not from fear, but from the odd excitement of waking in a place I did not remember arriving at. I blinked slowly, trying to make sense of the faint flicker of the holographic display in front of me. Symbols and shapes moved across the screen, unknown, yet somehow familiar. "Are you awake?" a voice called, breaking the silence. I turned toward it and saw a figure, a young engineer, uniform singed in places but still functional. Her hair was tangled, her face smudged with dirt, yet her eyes shone with a light that told me she had survived. Relief and tension warred in her expression. "You're awake," she said again, almost to herself, almost to me. "We thought we lost everyone." My hands shook slightly as I touched the smooth surface of the console, feeling the strange energy pulsing beneath. Outside, through the thick viewport, I could see the darkness of space broken by flickering lights from what looked like a shattered fleet. Pieces of metal drifted lazily, rotating slowly like stars in their own orbit. "What happened?" I managed to ask. The engineer hesitated. Her gaze flicked to the viewport and back, measuring her words carefully. "We were attacked," she said finally. "Something came out of nowhere, something fast, precise, and intelligent." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They underestimated us, but she trailed off, then shook her head as if to focus. "We need to move. They might still be here." I looked at the engineer. "We need a plan," I said. She nodded, quickly moving to a control panel and pressing a sequence of buttons that caused the holographic display to change. A 3D map appeared, showing our location relative to the shattered fleet and the unknown vessels nearby. Small blips moving with calculated precision seemed to hover around us. "They are scanning," she explained. "We can't stay here. If they find us, there is no chance of survival. We have to find the others and get out of here before they detect us." Each step we took felt heavier, not from weight but from the weight of what we were about to face. As we moved through the ship, I began to notice the details I had missed at first glance. Cracks in the walls, scorch marks, and strange symbols etched into panels. They were unfamiliar, alien in design, yet there was a pattern, a logic that suggested intelligence far beyond ordinary machines. My mind wandered briefly to the stories humans had told about encounters with other species in the galaxy, creatures that were supposed to be stronger, faster, smarter. And yet here we were, alive, still moving. We reached a small chamber where several others were gathered. They looked like survivors from a nightmare, eyes wide, bodies tense. Some clutched weapons, others held data pads or tools, all waiting for someone to give direction. The engineer spoke quickly, explaining the situation. "We have to move," she said. "The main engines are damaged, but we can reach the escape pods if we go now." Humans had a way of facing impossible odds and refusing to give in. It was a trait that had carried our species through wars, disasters, and the uncharted darkness of space. Now it was the only thing standing between us and annihilation. "Listen," I said, stepping forward, my voice steady despite the tension. "We have one shot at this. We move together, we cover each other, and we get out alive. Trust in yourself, trust in each other, and most importantly, trust in the fact that humans don't give up easily." Every sound seemed amplified, the creak of metal under stress, the hum of failing machinery, the occasional alarm still blaring somewhere in the distance. My senses were heightened, every shadow a potential threat. Yet beneath the tension, a strange thrill pulsed through me. This was the edge of human capability, a test of survival unlike any other. We reached the escape bay, a large chamber filled with pods lined like teeth ready to snap shut. Some were damaged, but several appeared functional. The engineer checked the control panel, typing rapidly, her fingers moving with practiced skill. The holographic display lit up, showing the trajectory calculations and the power levels needed to launch. It was delicate work, requiring precision and speed. I helped guide the others into the pods, double-checking their restraints and ensuring that the systems were ready. The pods were small but sufficient, designed for short-term survival until we could find a larger vessel or a habitable planet. As the last person climbed into a pod, I felt a strange mix of hope and dread. We were leaving the ship that had been our home, our refuge, and perhaps our tomb. But we were alive, and for now, that was enough. The engineer gave me a nod, signaling that it was my turn. I stepped into the pod, the hatch closing behind me with a hiss. The controls were straightforward, but the responsibility felt enormous. With trembling hands, I initiated the launch sequence, watching as the pod detached from the damaged ship. The view outside shifted, stars stretching into lines as we accelerated into the darkness. I exhaled slowly, feeling the tension ease slightly. But there was no time to relax. The unknown vessels were still out there, scanning, searching. Whatever had attacked us was intelligent, and it would not give up easily. We had to be smarter, faster, and more adaptable. Humans had always excelled in situations where logic and instinct met in perfect harmony. Now, that skill would be tested on a scale we had never imagined. As we drifted further from the wreckage, I looked around at the faces of the others in their pods, reflected in the soft glow of the control panels. Fear was present, yes, but so was determination. We had survived the impossible, and we would continue to do so. Humans were underestimated too often. We thrived in chaos, in danger, in moments when others would surrender. And in this vast galaxy, filled with beings far more powerful than ourselves, that resilience would be our greatest weapon. Outside, space stretched endlessly, silent and beautiful, yet deadly. Stars twinkled like distant promises, and the shattered fleet drifted silently behind us, a reminder of what we had lost. Yet ahead, unknown possibilities awaited. Planets' allies, maybe even enemies who could be outsmarted. Humanity had always moved forward, never waiting for permission, never fearing the impossible. And now, in this moment of uncertainty, that spirit burned brighter than ever. The pod stabilized in open space, and I allowed myself a moment to breathe, to feel the reality of survival. I did not know what lay ahead, but I knew one thing: humans would not give up. We would adapt, we would fight, and we would find a way to turn even this dire situation into an advantage. Somewhere in the distance, a faint glimmer of movement caught my eye, another ship perhaps, or something else entirely. The unknown had not yet revealed its hand, and that was fine. Humans thrived on the unknown. We had survived so much already. Whatever came next, we would face it, together. And with that thought, I let my eyes close for a brief moment, the hum of the pod lulling me into a tense, vigilant rest. This was only the beginning. The pod drifted through the blackness of space, its engines humming softly as it adjusted course. Inside, the small group of humans remained tense, eyes darting from display to display, watching for any sign of movement outside. The unknown vessels that had attacked their fleet were still out there, somewhere, moving with a precision and intelligence that made every second feel like a test. Tayyab stared through the viewport, tracing the distant glimmer of stars, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He had survived countless dangers before, but this was different. This was a threat unlike any other, a force that could destroy entire fleets without warning. Yet he could feel the familiar spark of determination that humans carried, a spark that never went out, no matter how dark the universe became. The engineer beside him, whose name he now remembered was Lyra, was busy with the pod's controls. Her fingers moved quickly, tapping on holographic keys, adjusting their trajectory, calculating vectors. "We need to stay unpredictable," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "They are scanning the area, looking for anything moving in patterns they can predict. If we stick to a straight path, we'll be easy to find. And if we have to hide, we hide in the shadows of planets or debris, anything that breaks their sensors." That thinking, that instinct, would be their greatest weapon now. Outside, a small asteroid field drifted lazily in the void. The pods shifted, adjusting course to enter the field. The asteroids were irregular, some large enough to dwarf their small craft. Moving through them was risky, but it also offered protection. The unknown vessels might hesitate to follow closely, unsure of collisions or damage. Tayyab felt a rush of excitement mixed with fear. Every human who survived this moment would remember the thrill of outsmarting a threat far superior in strength. As they navigated through the field, a sudden alert flashed across the pod's display. Lyra's brow furrowed. "They are tracking us," she said. "Sensors indicate a vessel approaching from the other side of the field. It's maintaining distance, analyzing. It's risky, but it will slow them down." Every movement, every calculation mattered. One mistake could end everything. But humans had always excelled under pressure. They were clever, unpredictable, and tenacious. The unknown vessel, however advanced, had not anticipated the improvisation that humans could muster in real time. After several tense minutes, the pod emerged from the asteroid field, unscathed but with adrenaline still coursing through their veins. "We made it," Lyra whispered, almost to herself. She exhaled slowly, wiping a bead of sweat from her brow. "But that was close. We need a base, somewhere hidden, to regroup and plan our next moves." It wasn't large, but it could offer shelter, places to hide, and resources if they were careful. "Set course for that planet," Tayeb said, pointing. "Dense clouds, uneven terrain. It's the perfect place to stay out of their sensors for a while. We'll need to descend carefully. Atmosphere is rough, but it's manageable." And that was a dangerous thing for any enemy to underestimate. The descent into the planet's atmosphere was tense. Turbulence shook the pod, and warning alarms blared intermittently. Lyra's hands flew over the controls, steady and precise. Tayeb gritted his teeth, gripping the seat. The Rocky Mountains below rushed up to meet them, clouds swirling around peaks, lightning flashing in the distance. With a final shudder, the pod broke through the clouds, landing in a hidden valley between two jagged cliffs. The engines powered down and the hum faded. Silence, save for the wind and distant thunder. The humans exhaled collectively, relief mixing with fatigue. "We are safe for now," Lyra said, checking the pod systems. "We need to set up a perimeter and make sure no one follows us here." It was not perfect, but it was something they could defend. The humans quickly spread out, establishing a temporary camp. They used portable scanners to monitor for any approaching ships. While setting up, Tayeb noticed something unusual: small crystalline formations scattered across the valley floor. They glowed faintly, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost alive. He knelt, examining one closely. "These aren't natural," he said, running his fingers over the smooth surface. "They feel like they're part of a system, maybe even a network. Something intelligent placed them here. Then we treat them like they are. We move cautiously and we learn what we can. Humans survive because we notice details others ignore. This could be our advantage." Night fell and the storm above rumbled, lightning illuminating the jagged cliffs and casting long shadows. Tayeb took a moment to look at the stars through the breaks in the clouds. They were tiny pinpricks compared to the vast darkness around them, yet they offered guidance, a reminder of what humans had always done: navigate, adapt, and endure. Lyra approached him, carrying a small device that monitored energy signatures. "No unusual activity detected in the immediate area," she said. "But the larger threat is still out there. They are intelligent and they will be looking for us. They think they are superior because of their technology, but humans have something they can't measure: ingenuity, courage, and the will to survive." Throughout the night, they worked in shifts, monitoring sensors, studying the glowing crystals, and preparing defenses. Every sound was amplified in the valley: wind against rock, distant thunder, the faint hum of the pod's backup systems. Each human remained alert, ready to act at a moment's notice. As dawn broke, the storm began to clear, revealing the valley in full. The cliffs loomed high, casting long shadows over the humans' temporary base. Tayeb looked around, noting the natural choke points, the hidden paths, and the areas they could use to ambush any approaching enemies. Strategy came naturally to him, but it was a combination of instinct and observation that made it uniquely human. Lyra joined him again, pointing to the holographic map. "We can use the terrain to our advantage. If they try to follow us here, they'll have to go through narrow passes, exposed to observation and countermeasures. They think technology makes them superior, but they forget we are adaptable, clever, and persistent." The glowing crystals continued to pulse faintly, and Tayeb began to suspect they were more than just decorations or sensors. They could hold knowledge, energy, or even be a tool if humans could figure out how to use them. As night fell again, Tayeb stood atop a ridge, looking down at the valley and the camp below. The humans were small against the vast landscape, yet he felt no fear. Humans had always survived the impossible. And now, in this strange valley, with an enemy still lurking in the darkness of space, that same resilience burned brighter than ever. Somewhere beyond the stars, the unknown vessels moved, analyzing, calculating, searching for weaknesses. But they had not counted on humans. They had not counted on ingenuity, courage, or the relentless will to survive. And that, Tayeb knew, was a mistake they would come to regret. The valley was quiet now, except for the faint hum of the pod's backup systems and the gentle glow of the crystals. The humans rested, planned, and watched. And in the darkness, they prepared for the next move, ready to show the galaxy once again that underestimating humanity was always a dangerous choice. The humans spent the next morning scanning the valley for any signs of danger. The glowing crystals scattered across the ground pulsed faintly, a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Tayeb crouched near one, brushing his fingers over the smooth surface. There was no immediate danger, yet he felt an odd sense of awareness radiating from it, as if the crystals themselves were observing them. "We need to understand what these are," Lyra said, joining him. Her eyes were sharp with curiosity, not fear. They could be surveillance devices, traps, or something else, something we can use. But humans have always survived because we observe, learn, and adapt. If we figure this out, it could give us an advantage, something the enemy won't expect. Small sensors were deployed, feeding information to a central terminal in the pod. Each person moved carefully, aware that even the smallest misstep could alert whatever intelligence was still tracking them. Hours passed without incident, and the team began to feel a small sense of relief. The valley seemed quiet, almost peaceful, if one ignored the storm clouds rolling far above the cliffs. Yet Tayeb knew better. Silence was never permanent in space. Danger always lurked, waiting for the right moment to strike. As afternoon approached, the sensors suddenly picked up a movement. Tayeb and Lyra rushed to the terminal, analyzing the data. A vessel, small but fast, was approaching the planet. Its trajectory suggested it had detected their pods, but it was cautious, moving slowly through the atmosphere, scanning. "They're close," Lyra said, her voice tense. "They're observing us, but they haven't committed yet." Then we strike in a way they won't expect. They rely on technology and speed, but humans have creativity, adaptability, and the ability to turn odds in our favor. They divided into small groups, moving through the valley with careful precision. One group stayed near the pod, maintaining the illusion of vulnerability. Others hid in the higher ridges, observing the approach of the alien vessel. Tayeb himself climbed a cliff, scanning the surrounding area, his mind racing through every possible scenario. The alien vessel emerged from the clouds, sleek and dark, moving with almost unnatural grace. Sensors and scanning devices extended from its hull, sweeping the valley. Tayeb's heart beat steadily, not with fear but with anticipation. Humans thrived in situations where others expected panic. This was a test, and they were ready. He signaled to the group hidden on the ridges. Using makeshift devices and the pulsing crystals, they amplified signals that interfered with the alien's sensors. The vessel paused, its movements erratic, unsure of the signals it was receiving. Tayeb smiled. Humans had always used ingenuity to their advantage, and this was no exception. Suddenly, a smaller craft detached from the alien vessel, descending toward the valley. It hovered silently, scanning, and Tayeb realized they had only moments to act. He whispered to the team in the pod. "We need to draw it away. Use the path through the rocky canyon. Make it chase shadows, not us." Tayeb activated the pod's external lights and sensors intermittently, creating a trail that suggested movement in one direction while the team actually moved through another path. The smaller craft followed, its sensors locked on false signals, leaving the humans largely undetected. Once the alien craft was lured away, the team regrouped near a dense forest of jagged rocks. Tayeb surveyed the terrain, noting natural choke points and elevated positions. "If they return, we can use the cliffs and rocks to control their approach," he said. "They have speed and technology, but humans can control the battlefield. We just need to think ahead." They studied the crystals, and slowly patterns began to emerge. The pulsing lights were not random. They reacted to movement, energy, and proximity. Tayeb realized that these crystals might be a type of communication device, or perhaps a passive sensor network left behind by an advanced species. "We could use them," he said. "If we understand their patterns, we can manipulate them. Create false readings, confuse any intelligence trying to track us. Humans always excel when we use the tools around us in unexpected ways." Each human was small in the vast valley, yet together they formed a system, a network of survival built on observation, intelligence, and cooperation. A sudden flash of light drew their attention. A larger alien ship had entered orbit, scanning the planet's surface. Tayeb felt a surge of anticipation. Humans had survived against impossible odds before, using strategy, courage, and creativity. This would be no different. "We need a new plan," he said. "They are cautious but intelligent. They will not act recklessly. That's where humans have the edge. We adapt, they hesitate. We move while they calculate. And when the moment comes, we take the advantage they did not anticipate. We can control their approach." As the alien ship hovered silently above, Tayeb realized something important. Humans thrived not because they were stronger or faster, but because they were clever. They saw possibilities where others saw danger. They took risks, calculated odds, and adapted in ways that even advanced intelligence often could not predict. The night passed without attack, but the tension never left. Every rustle of wind, every flicker of light from the crystals was examined carefully. Tayab remained awake for most of it, observing, thinking, planning. Humans had survived countless dangers in their history, from environmental disasters to warfare. This was just another test of their ingenuity, their courage, their resilience. As dawn approached, the alien ship began to retreat slightly, possibly confused by the patterns and interference. Tayeb watched, noting its movements. "They don't understand the valley," he said. "They expect direct confrontation. Humans don't play by those rules. We use the environment, our wits, and our adaptability. That is our greatest strength. This could give us a way to manipulate their sensors," he said. "Humans survive because we notice what others ignore. We see opportunities and we act. They might have strength, but we have intelligence and adaptability." Tayeb realized that their presence alone was causing confusion. Humans had always excelled in situations where they were underestimated. This would be no exception. By evening, the team had established a secure perimeter, mapped crystal patterns, and prepared contingency plans. Tayeb gathered them together. "We have survived the first encounter," he said, "but the fight is not over. We are humans. We survive because we adapt, because we think, and because we refuse to give up. They underestimate us, and that is our advantage. Tomorrow, we will learn more, and we will prepare to turn the odds in our favor." Humans had always overcome impossible situations. It was in their nature to survive, to endure, and to triumph where others failed. Night fell once more, and the valley pulsed softly with the light of the crystals. The humans rested in shifts, always alert, always learning. Tayeb stood on the ridge, looking up at the stars, feeling a sense of quiet pride. They were alive. They had survived against impossible odds, and they would continue to survive because humans did not give up. The alien vessel remained above, observing, calculating, unaware of the subtle ways humans were already shaping the battlefield. Tayeb smiled faintly. Humans always found a way. They had survived countless challenges on Earth, adapted to the harshness of space, and now, even in a valley on an unknown planet, they would find a way to turn survival into victory. The night was quiet, but it was not empty. The valley, the crystals, the humans, all were part of a web of awareness, strategy, and ingenuity. And in that web, Tayeb knew humans would continue to thrive. The enemy might have technology, speed, and strength, but humans had unpredictability, intelligence, and resilience. And in the end, those qualities had always proven unstoppable. The valley lay in a strange calm as dawn approached, the faint glow of the crystals slowly fading in the morning light. Tayeb stood atop the ridge, surveying the terrain. The humans had spent the night in shifts, studying, observing, and learning. They had mapped the patterns of the crystals and monitored the alien vessel above. So far, there had been no direct attack, but Tayeb knew that silence often preceded danger. He turned to Lyra, who was checking the sensors once more. "They are calculating, observing, trying to understand what we are," he said. "Humans survive because we act when others hesitate. They will strike eventually, but we can control how that happens." Intelligence, creativity, and teamwork had carried them through countless impossible situations. The aliens above might be faster, stronger, and technologically superior, but humans had one advantage they could never predict: unpredictability. As the morning sun rose, the alien vessel shifted position, descending closer to the valley's atmosphere. Its scanners swept across the ground, pausing as if analyzing every detail. Tayeb signaled to the team to remain hidden. The humans stayed silent, blending into the terrain, their movements careful and deliberate. Suddenly, the alien ship deployed small drones, sleek and metallic, hovering silently as they moved forward to investigate. Tayeb clenched his fists. "They are probing," he whispered. "We can't let them get too close. But we don't run, humans adapt, humans fight smart." Humans had survived the impossible before by using ingenuity, and this was no different. One drone moved toward the false signal, and the humans watched silently from their positions. As the drone got closer, Tayeb pressed a hidden control on a device he had improvised using parts from the pod. The crystals pulsed sharply, sending a burst of energy toward the drone. Its systems overloaded, and it crashed into a rocky outcrop with a metallic screech. "Nice work," Lyra said softly. "They'll know we are clever." The aliens would learn that humans were not easy prey. Tayeb studied the valley carefully. The narrow passes, jagged cliffs, and scattered crystals could all be used to their advantage if the alien ship committed to an attack. Hours passed with no further movement from above. Tayeb decided it was time to explore the valley further, to gather resources and find vantage points for observation. He led a small group through a series of caves partially hidden by vegetation. The air was cool, and the rocks glistened with minerals that could be useful for their devices. Inside the caves, they discovered signs of past life, not alien, but remnants of another species that had lived here long ago. Strange carvings decorated the walls, some resembling the pulsing crystals outside. Tayab studied them carefully. "There is a system here," he said. "The crystals, these carvings, they are part of a network, a way to sense or communicate. We can use it." Humans have always found ways to turn environments into advantages. Tayeb climbed to a high ridge, looking down at the camp below. The humans were small in the valley, yet their coordination and understanding of the terrain made them formidable. Humans had survived countless challenges throughout history by observing, adapting, and acting decisively. That would be their strength tonight. A sudden flash of light from above caught Tayeb's attention. The alien ship had moved, preparing to descend. Tayeb signaled to the team. "They are coming. Stay calm, use the terrain and crystals, make them overcommit." Tayeb activated subtle pulses in the crystals, sending false energy signatures that suggested movement in different directions. The alien ship paused, its sensors confused. The humans moved strategically, using the valley's terrain to their advantage. They climbed higher ridges, shifted behind rocks, and remained silent. The aliens were strong, but humans had strategy. They had ingenuity. They had the ability to turn the environment itself into a weapon. Suddenly, a section of the cliff above the alien ship shifted. Rocks tumbled down, guided by human hands from hidden positions. The aliens responded quickly, deploying defensive shields, but the humans had already anticipated their moves. The valley became a labyrinth of confusion for the alien ship, with each false signal, falling rock, and pulsing crystal designed to mislead. Tayeb watched, heart steady, mind calculating the next move. Humans had survived countless battles on Earth against nature, disease, and each other. Now in this valley, they applied the same principles: adapt, observe, and strike smartly. The alien vessel hovered, clearly frustrated as the human strategy forced it to react repeatedly. It could not predict their movements or the use of the crystals. Tayeb smiled faintly. "This is what they underestimate: our intelligence, our ability to adapt. They may have strength, but humans have unpredictability." The humans moved as one, using signals, terrain, and the crystals to manipulate the alien ship's sensors. By midnight, the vessel began to retreat slightly, clearly wary of the environment. Tayeb studied the retreat path. "They will be back," he said. "But now we know they hesitate. That hesitation is our advantage. We control the battlefield, and humans thrive in situations others fear." Each human had a role, each movement was deliberate, and each decision was calculated to maximize their advantage. Lyra nodded. "We've survived the first major test," she said. "But the next one will be harder. They will learn from their mistakes, and we will have to be even smarter." Humans survive because we notice what others ignore. We act when others hesitate, and we adapt faster than anyone expects. They may have power, but we have courage, intelligence, and determination. That is why humans endure. They had learned to move quietly, communicate subtly, and observe every detail. The alien ship remained in orbit, cautious, unable to fully predict the humans' actions. Tayeb knew that the next encounter would test them further, but he had confidence. Humans thrived when underestimated. The next morning, Tayeb led a team to a higher ridge overlooking the valley. From there, they could see the alien vessel's patterns, map their scanning routines, and plan further strategies. Humans had survived countless disasters by observing and acting wisely. This was no different. Tayeb watched the valley, feeling a sense of pride. Each human had played their part, using intelligence, courage, and adaptability. The alien vessel above might have technology, strength, and speed, but it had not anticipated one thing: humans. Unpredictable, creative, and resilient, humans always found a way to survive. The valley glowed faintly with the crystals, the humans prepared, and the alien vessel lingered, unaware of the full extent of their capability. Tayeb smiled faintly. The next encounter would come, and when it did, humans would be ready. They always were. And in that moment, high on the ridge, overlooking the valley and the glowing network of crystals, Tayeb understood something fundamental. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, fastest, or most advanced, but because they never gave up, never underestimated the value of intelligence, and always adapted to survive. The alien vessel remained above, still cautious. The humans below were small in number but immense in potential. They had survived, adapted, and learned. And when the final test came, they would endure once more, because humanity had a single trait that no alien technology could match: resilience. The valley pulsed softly with life, the crystals glowing in patterns that humans had begun to understand. The team moved quietly through the terrain, readying traps, studying signals, and preparing for the inevitable return of the alien vessel. Humans thrived in such situations. They survived because they thought, adapted, and acted decisively. And above all, they never gave up. The valley was quiet, the crystals pulsing faintly like distant heartbeats. Tayeb stood atop the ridge, scanning the horizon. Today there would be no more waiting. The alien vessel above had been cautious for too long, and humans never waited for threats to act first. They created opportunities. "Prepare yourselves," Tayeb said, his voice calm but firm. "They will come and they will strike hard, but we are humans. We survive because we adapt, because we think, and because we act when others hesitate. Today, we show them what that means." They had studied the aliens' responses, their scanning patterns, and their hesitation. Now all that knowledge would be put into practice. From the ridge, Tayeb observed the alien vessel. It descended slowly, deploying multiple drones to survey the valley. Tayeb's eyes narrowed. "They've learned to probe," he whispered. "But humans survive because we anticipate, we plan, and we act with creativity. They may have numbers, technology, and speed, but we have unpredictability, and that is stronger than any weapon." They pulsed sharply, creating false readings that suggested movement in multiple directions. The drones paused, their sensors confused. Tayeb smiled faintly. Humans always excelled when others relied on logic and strength alone. Creativity was their secret weapon. Suddenly, one drone advanced toward the false signal. Tayeb pressed a control on a device he had improvised from the pod's components. A sharp pulse surged from the crystals, overloading the drone systems. It crashed into a rock with a metallic screech, sparks flying. The remaining drones hesitated, their patterns disrupted. "Good," Lyra whispered, crouched beside him. "They think twice now." "We capitalize." He activated another set of crystal pulses, guiding the remaining drones toward rocky passages filled with hidden traps. The drones struggled to navigate, colliding with rock and energy barriers carefully set by the team. From above, the alien vessel began to react. It deployed a new wave of drones, faster, more sophisticated. Tayeb's mind raced. Humans had survived because they learned, adapted, and used every advantage. The valley was their advantage. The crystals, the terrain, even the shadows, they could turn everything into a weapon. The first group of drones approached a narrow canyon, unaware that Tayeb and his team had prepared an ambush. Rocks suspended with energy pulses triggered as the drones entered, sending them spinning or disabled. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the humans watched silently, their patience unbroken. "They don't expect this," Tayeb said softly. "They think technology alone wins battles. Humans think differently. We use intelligence, observation, and creativity." As the armored drone entered the valley, the humans initiated their trap. Crystals pulsed in a synchronized pattern, reflecting energy and light across the rocky walls, disorienting the drone's sensors. Hidden wires and small improvised devices sent bursts of energy at precise intervals, creating confusion. The drone faltered, unsure of its readings. Tayeb pressed forward, guiding a secondary team to flank the drone. Using rocks and elevation, they disabled key systems with targeted strikes. The drone attempted to retreat, but the humans had predicted its path, cutting off its escape. Sparks flew as it crashed into the valley floor, finally silenced. The alien vessel hovered above, clearly aware that the humans were more than mere prey. It deployed additional drones, but Tayeb's team was ready. Using everything they had learned, the terrain, the crystals, improvised traps, they engaged each drone with precision. Humans worked as one, a coordinated network of intelligence and action. Hours passed, the valley echoing with metallic crashes and the hum of energy pulses. Each success gave the humans confidence, but Tayeb knew better than to underestimate the enemy. The alien vessel was intelligent, adaptable, and dangerous, yet humans had survived far greater threats on Earth and beyond. Finally, the alien vessel moved closer, scanning the humans directly. Tayeb signaled for the final phase of their plan. Hidden behind a ridge, they activated the largest sequence of crystal pulses yet, creating a complex pattern of false energy signatures. The vessel hesitated, unsure which readings were real. Humans had mastered the art of deception, turning simplicity into power. Seizing the moment, Tayeb led a coordinated strike. Teams moved from multiple directions, using rocks, energy pulses, and hidden paths to disable the drones around the main ship. The alien vessel attempted to respond, but it could not predict every movement. Humans acted decisively, using intelligence and timing to their advantage. Lyra watched from a high ridge. "They're panicking," she said, eyes wide with awe. They didn't expect humans to fight like this. Tayeb signaled the team to maintain positions, ready for any follow-up attacks. The humans had held their ground, outsmarted a superior force, and remained unbroken. Night fell once more, the valley glowing softly with the crystal's pulses. Tayeb stood atop the ridge, watching the retreating alien ship in the distance. "We survived the impossible," he said quietly. "And we will survive whatever comes next. Humans endure, humans adapt, and humans never give up." Humans had always survived against odds that seemed impossible, and this was no different. Lyra placed a hand on Tayeb's shoulder. "They will return," she said, "but now they know what humans are capable of, and that gives us the advantage. They may have technology, but we have courage, intelligence, and unpredictability. That is our greatest weapon." Each human had contributed, each had used their strengths, and together they had created a force greater than any alien expectation. Dawn approached again, and the valley seemed peaceful. The storm had passed, leaving clear skies and quiet winds. Tayeb stood atop the ridge, watching the team below. The humans had endured, and in doing so they had proven a fundamental truth. No matter how advanced or powerful an enemy might be, human ingenuity, courage, and determination could overcome. The alien vessel had retreated, but Tayeb knew it would return. Yet humans had learned, adapted, and prevailed. They had turned the valley into a stronghold, the crystals into tools, and their own minds into weapons. Survival was not about strength alone. It was about intelligence, cooperation, and willpower. Humans had all of that in abundance. As the first light of morning bathed the valley, Tayeb allowed himself a rare moment of pride. The humans had faced the impossible, and they had survived. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and determination had turned what seemed like certain defeat into victory. The crystals pulsed softly, a gentle rhythm that seemed to echo the heartbeat of the humans below. They had survived, adapted, and endured. And in the vast galaxy beyond the valley, where unknown dangers awaited, humanity's spirit would continue to shine. Tayeb turned to the team. "Rest now," he said. "We have won this battle, but the war is far from over. Remember what we are capable of. Remember that humans survive because we adapt, because we think, and because we never give up." They had faced a superior force, a threat that seemed unbeatable, and had emerged victorious through intelligence, strategy, and courage. They were humans. They survived. They endured. And somewhere in the distant stars, the alien vessel had learned a truth that no technology could measure. Underestimating humans was always a mistake. The valley glowed in the morning light, the crystals pulsing with life, and the humans below prepared for the future, stronger and wiser. They had survived, and they would continue to survive because humans had a single trait no enemy could overcome: resilience, intelligence, and the unyielding will to endure. In the silence of the valley, the humans stood together, victorious, alive, and ready. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers, but humanity would face them as it always had, clever, adaptable, and unstoppable. Tayeb looked up at the stars, feeling the quiet strength of the human spirit. Today they had survived the impossible. Tomorrow they would thrive. And no matter what challenges lay ahead, humans would endure because that was what they always did.